Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a little bit of a different type of video to share with you guys. I own close to 300 knives. I am a full-time knife reviewer, knife-related content creator on YouTube. So I'm also a knife enthusiast and knife collector, obviously. So I have a lot of pocket knives that I keep for various reasons. Some of them I use, some of them are safe queens, and some of them I just enjoy making content out of and sharing with you guys. But I have 5 Pelican cases full of knives. And so some of them come out fairly often, but other ones sit for a very long time. As you know, 2 years is a long time in terms of the knife world, actually in terms of anything, right? After 2 years, it essentially becomes an ancient relic of the past. And I thought I might go through my collection and pull out 5 random knives that I have very fond memories of. Essentially, forgotten favorites. Not really forgotten, just knives that I haven't touched on in a long time. Availability with this stuff is pretty low, right? But it's still important that some of these, if they're lesser known makers, you should be familiar with because they might bring this stuff back at some point. So this video is mostly for entertainment and just something for you guys to watch and enjoy. Thank you so much to my patrons for supporting me. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex and on TikTok at _metal_complex. So starting off here, this was the first one that I pulled out, and many of you guys will be familiar with this knife, but not everybody. This is the Terrain 365 Invictus, and this has a few different things that make it really fun and special, but it's not been available for a bit. It's been available in some different forms like G10 or whatever, right? Here and there, people kind of see it, but the titanium one I think has been out for a bit. The blade is not steel. The blade is something that they call Terravantium, and it's cobalt based. So the blade can't rust, which is pretty cool. The blade is made in the United States, but the frame is manufactured in China. I forget which OEM does it. Maybe it's Bestech or something, but a really, really cool streamlined knife. And it has one other really fun feature, and that's the fact that the thumb studs have little glowing inserts in them. So I'm going to show you guys here real quick if my flashlight does not run out of batteries. But yeah, the thumb studs will actually glow. And that makes this knife really fun and interesting. Not that like something that glows is like non-existent in the knife world, but it does make it fun. And I had a lot of fun memories, and I realized it had been a long time since I had got this knife out. It is, of course, based on the original Prometheus Design Works Invictus. If you feel like you've seen something like that from ProTech, you're right. You've seen the ProTech Invictus, which is ProTech's collaboration with Prometheus Design Works. So it comes in a bunch of different forms, but this one in particular is definitely interesting. Moving on here, a knife that everybody knows about, but this specific variant, I legitimately forget that I own this knife, and it has an element that I love. This is, I believe it's the Blade HQ exclusive edition of the CPM M4 Spyderco Smock. Now, people are going to look at the scales and go, ooh, gross, flue booger, like some people love this scale color, some people don't. I don't really care about that. What I find so interesting about this particular Spyderco knife is that the DLC that is applied is shiny. And I had completely forgotten that this version of the Smock, and honestly, I think a lot of Sprint or exclusive Smocks that have this finish, for whatever reason, it is applied to a satin finished blade and it's shiny. In 2024, shiny DLC is like the name of the game. Like everybody is always wanting that. And here's this random Spyderco Smock that I own. The Spyderco Smock is a great knife. And honestly, it's one of my favorite Spyderco knives. I love that it's a button-operated compression lock. I always say button-operated liner lock, but it's a button-operated compression lock, making it in and of itself a really cool knife, right? This, I believe, is a Taichung Taiwan, yeah. But most Spyderco DLC, it's what I always used to compare the Spyderco DLC because it's like a chalky or like a flat DLC. The DLC will take on, I believe, the finish of whatever the material underneath has, right? So if you, like, for example, want a mirror polish DLC, I believe you have to, like, hyper polish the blade before you apply it. But during the time where the Smock was, you know, like a much, not saying that it's not good anymore, but when it was a much bigger deal, a shiny DLC just wasn't really a huge thing. And even when it was applied, people didn't really make a big deal out of it. So it's just funny. I opened it up and I was like, this is like satin DLC. This is really cool. Oh my God, I love this knife. I forgot how much I loved it, right? If you own a ton of knives, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, it's just funny that this kind of thing happens. Moving on here, this is definitely a forgotten favorite, not just by me, but by many people. And I know that for some of you, this is going to be the first time you've ever seen this knife. This is the Berg Blades Iron Wolf. Now, they're currently making the Tick, and they also recently made the Sweeney. Their biggest knife, to my knowledge, is the Iron Wolf. And I remember when they did the first run of this thing, I think back when these were done, I think this is 2019, perhaps 2018. No, probably 2019, maybe even 2020 was when I picked this up. But I think this was done by We Knives. The first run of the Iron Wolf, I discovered it when it was already sold out. I thought, I want that knife, but I can't get it. So I waited and waited and waited. And then somebody said, hey, they're doing more Iron Wolves. You got to pick one up. And I immediately jumped on this one. I think this is one of the only ones left. But it is very similar in size and shape to the Hinderer XM24 without being a direct copy. But I absolutely love this knife. And it's funny that with it being such a simple and what you would assume a common knife profile, it's funny that we don't actually have a lot that's exactly this size. I mean, this is a big knife, you know, by most people's standards. The overall length of the Iron Wolf is 9 inches with a 4-inch blade and about 3.6-inch cutting edge. Not just that, but it's a pretty tall blade. I mean, all the way around, it is a big knife and a fairly thick stock and fairly thick titanium scales. This particular one is kind of, I guess, a sub frame lock underneath those micarta scales. I would have preferred that they had done one in black, but they didn't at the time. They just had this. But I really, really enjoy this knife. And I always forget that it's in there. And every time, you know, that I come across it when I'm looking for something else, I pull it out and flip it a couple of times and think, oh yeah, I love this knife, right? Hopefully they will do some more, perhaps some updated versions. Berg blades, I would love for you to do what you did with the Tick to the Iron Wolf. I would love to see some contoured scales. I'd love to see that awesome fuller. The new Tick is awesome. You guys should definitely check it out. That one at about 8 inches, a little smaller than the Iron Wolf, but the Iron Wolf, if we got an updated version of that, I would buy it in a heartbeat. I love this thing. Moving on here, this is a knife that shaped my preferences in general. This is a legendary pocket knife, and it is easily, however you define forgotten favorite, this matches that. This is the legendary ZT0392, aka the Hinderer Eclipse. That looks exactly like the Eclipse. That's because this was a Hinderer authorized ZT collaboration. This one in particular is a very rare 0392 BWBRZ, which ZT Hinderer knife historians will point out should come with bronze hardware. I bought this on the secondary market. Get ready. I bought this on the secondary market for $300. Oh my God, I have no idea what it's worth now, but the person who had this before me had loved it thoroughly, right? Which you'd think is crazy. It looks like it's in really good shape. It's been resharpened. I use it, right? But it had bronze hardware, and I thought, man, the hardware's so beat up, like the anodizing and rubbed off of it. I thought, I don't care if I'm like pulling out I still have the original hardware somewhere. But I pulled it all out and bought some replacement Eclipse hardware, which, because this is essentially the Eclipse, all of the hardware fits. The pivot, the body screws, everything. I mean, really the only difference here between this and the Eclipse is the fact that the stops are slightly different and the frame is slightly different, which is why you cannot take the scales off of the 0392 and put it on an Eclipse or vice versa. This was during the time, right? There's still plenty of people out there who have not bought a Hinderer since like 2013, 2014. Those people will still tell you ZT makes a better Hinderer. That was true 10 years ago, right? I was in that boat too. If you've never handled a new Gen 6 from Hinderer, right, then sorry, you don't know what you're talking about anymore. The new Hinderers are definitely better. But at the time, we had never seen something so spectacular as this. This ZT0392, if you remember when it came out, it was so good that it made the actual Hinderer clips look like a joke. Not just that, but like the 0562 at the time definitely made the XM18 3.5 inch look kind of, do you really want to spend that much when you can buy the 0560 or whatever that, or 0562? What did I say? It's the 0562, right? Nowadays, the Thai 0562 is fine, right? But the new XM18s, even though they are substantially more expensive, they're definitely better. Like, they're hands down, right? Anybody who's handled both will tell you that. But this knife, to this day, is actually still built in a way that rivals modern day XMs and Eclipses. In fact, I actually have right here, I'll share this with you guys, my own modern day Eclipse, which I should have had out, you know what, before I started the video. But this knife is a non-flipper version of the knife that you're seeing here. This is the actual Hinderer version. And while, yeah, it's got a little bit of more of a spicy, you know, cool, I got the tie scale on it, right? This knife, honestly, outside of maybe the pivot action being, you know, a little nicer, right here. We haven't talked about Hinderers in so long that I'm taking my time here. Yeah, the pivot action on this guy is definitely smoother, right? This guy is a little tighter, but pretty close. The detent on the ZT version is definitely heavier, right? But this is also a flipper, so the detent's always lightened up on the non-flipper versions. But this knife is literally indistinguishable. And when these came out, when these released originally back in somewhere between 2012 and 2015, I think this particular version, there's a bunch of different 0392 variants. These were $390. It was part of ZT's long extinct factory custom line, which many of you remember fondly. Oh, can you imagine if they brought that back? Can you imagine if they still made knives like the 0392? This is a spectacular model. And it was one of those situations where I thought, this is I want this knife more than I want the real thing, right? And I think that may have been part of the reason why we don't see this stuff anymore. I think there's a lot of moving parts to why the ZT0392 series ended. But if you didn't know about the ZT0392, you should definitely look up all the different versions because, boy, what a wild ride, man. Like, some people legitimately own perfect versions of all the different colors. But such an incredible knife, huge part of this channel, and easily a forgotten favorite. I would just die if ZT brought back this knife. I don't know what I'd do. I mean, such a spectacular model. And then finally, a knife that admittedly I have talked about recently on a live stream, but I feel like a lot of people have no idea that this knife exists. This is I believe this is a Gen 1 Varga VBR. And right away, I'm sure you guys are going to say, I know why you like that knife. It's because it's very similar to the Hinderer XM18. And that's exactly right. But this was much more available. It was less expensive. This is it has a Chinese OEM. It also has a flipper tab that is much less offensive than the XM18s. Now, Varga still makes knives. In fact, here recently, I think he made the MK4, which I also own. It's a longer, skinnier version, right? But I bought this version in carbon fiber with a titanium bolster and in Damasteel because it was kind of, at the time, it was like everything that I wanted from the Hinderer that just wasn't a part of the Hinderer. This guy also has a Mokame clip, Mocha tie, not Mokame. It's Mokame Gain and titanium Damascus mixed together. It's got that and the bag spacer, which just is really cool. And at the time, this was way before the pricing on stuff like this got outrageous. But I want to say I picked this knife up for about $400 back again in maybe right around like 2019, 2020. I can't remember exactly. I'm sure that I have a video on this and people will correct my date. But yeah, nowadays this knife would cost multiple hundreds more, most likely. And I just, I got this out. It's been sitting in the larger case for such a long time. I got this out the other day and thought, man, what a spectacular knife. So some people are going to see more or less of a benefit with me showing this kind of stuff. You'd say, what's the point of showing this if you can't get it? Well, the point is to be aware of it, because if you're familiar with the knife world, like if you're brand new, right, you're probably ears are smoking like a cartoon character. Why did he show me something that I can't go buy right now? I want it. It's because the knife world, often what's involved with getting what you want is being patient and waiting for a very rare thing or a very sought after thing to surface again, usually with some sort of evolution or change, some sort of desirable element that brings people back. This is what we like in this community. A lot of us enjoy the hunt and enjoy the rush of, not a guaranteed acquisition. There's plenty of argument behind, why this isn't a good thing, but I can tell you pretty much what would 100% just bring the knife world down to ground zero would be to make every single thing absolutely available to everybody all the time. There would be less than zero interest in the hobby or the industry in a very short period of time. So that is definitely not the answer. But for people wondering, what are some of the, knives that you maybe have shown on this channel a long time ago that you still love, but you don't talk about very much, I thought this would be fun to kind of go through and share. So if you are interested in this stuff and it's not available, don't worry, because there is a chance that one day it'll be available again. I mean, I really doubt the 0392 will ever be available again, but it's still fun that it's out there, and the secondary market exists if you want to overpay for it. There's no shortage of people that will definitely take your money if you really want to spend it. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll get all these back out here in not in the correct order that I showed them. These are definitely special knives. And if you guys like this style of content, like if you guys like the idea of me going through and just picking 5 random knives from my endless sea of stuff here, and talking about them again, just stuff that maybe people forgot about, or maybe you're so new to the hobby you didn't know about this stuff, I would be more than happy to do this again. This is a fun thing for me to do, and I really enjoy talking about this stuff and a little bit of the history behind it. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do of course have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.